Welcome into Texans Today, and we have some breaking news. The Texans have signed defensive end Danielle Hunter to a 2-year, $49 million contract, basically all guaranteed, $48 million, but we're getting a premier pass rusher who's been there, done that on the other side of Will Anderson. If you're as pumped as I am, go down and like the video, and I need to know right now, what is your one-word reaction to the Texans signing Danielle Hunter? Let me know down in the comment section. I see Catching Dubs saying Super Bowl time. Caleb Kaufman, he's a real one. He's been in the chat since I started, the live stream, since I got this thing scheduled. I see Killa Product says sign him, Houston all day. Exclusive says risky. You think risky? A guy who had 16.5 sacks last year? Risky? Okay. Let me know what you're saying down in the comment section. Caleb Kaufman is saying dubs. I think it's a dub. I think it's an absolute dub. Got a shout out to my guy Tex, producing on the ones and twos, helping me on a busy Chat Sports day. A ton of breaking news around all of our team channels, but had to go live for this one. We had the Joe Mixon news earlier today, but Danielle Hunter signing with the Houston Texans. I said, hey, this is big. Got to go live. Got to say what's up to all the real ones out there. Adam Martinez, I think the same thing. He said Hunter is an upgrade over Grenard. DeOnyx Soul Hustle says nasty. Danielle Hunter is absolutely disgusting. A great edge rusher. I think he's going to pair perfectly with the timeline that the Texans are trying to do, which is win now. Have a guy who is proven on the opposite side of Will Anderson. I mean, look at these stats from last year. Look at these stats from last year. Absolutely insane. 16.5 sacks, 23 tackles for loss, 4 forced fumbles, 22 quarterback hits. I mean, the last 4 seasons still. 2021 injured. You're like, oh no, back injury. Is he going to be able to come back? Of course he can come back. 10.5, 16.5 sacks. Let me know. How are you feeling down in the comment section? Bacon Eyes says crazy, we go into the bowl. Now, I see people asking about cap space. I see people asking about, the Texans, they might have done too much. Maybe we want to get the Tracker L3 with it. Did the Texans overpay Danielle Hunter? 2 years, $49 million. Let me know down in the comment section. Adam Martinez and Al-Shaair is better than Cashman. I think that one's close. That one's close. I do think that Danielle Hunter is an upgrade over Jonathan Grenard. I really do. Let me know down in the comment section. That's for CJ Gardner-Johnson. No, you're good. You're good. Another signing that recently happened around the NFL. Manny Dees said, I love this. I mean, wow. Look at Grenard contract, and JG is younger. I get Jonathan Grenard is younger, but like I've been saying the past month, the Texans are in win-now mode right now. They have a chance to make it to a Super Bowl when you have a star rookie quarterback on a rookie contract. So you got to really take advantage of this time period. You have to take advantage of C.J. Stroud on a rookie deal. I think Grenard, maybe he develops into a better pass rusher, but for the right here, right now, I think Danielle Hunter if I'm taking one game right now, today, I'm taking Danielle Hunter over Jonathan Grenard, in my opinion. But hey, this is why you hit that sub button. Breaking news when it happens and free videos all year long. I decided, hey, I got to go live here on Texans Today. Got to show some love to the real ones who've been supporting the channel. If you haven't already, go down and hit that sub button and make sure you hit your notification bell as well. So when we drop a video, you are the first to be notified. Hey, Danielle Hunter, he got signed less than 30 minutes ago. My team here at Chat Sports got behind me. We got this video going. We got it ready to go in about under 10, 15 minutes for all of you folks at home. So go down and hit that sub button or go to youtube.com/TexansTV for daily Texans news and rumors videos. And good question, Tex. Thanks for pulling this one up. What position do the Texans need to target next in free agency? I think after this, maybe a like, and then we'll get into the cut. Sounds good to me. What position do we need to go after next in free agency? Is it cornerback? Is it safety? Where are you feeling? Maybe offensive line, D-line, do they keep on adding to the defensive line? Let me know. I see Manny D's. He says safety. Oss M says F signing. Really? You think so? I don't know. Caleb Kaufman says strong safety. Robert says wide receiver. Jose says sign Justin Simmons. I wouldn't mind that at all. I said in my earlier video today that the Texans, they have two safeties right now that are more physical, that can play in the box, in Jimmy Ward and Jalen Petrie. I think Justin Simmons would be a perfect fit for what the Texans need in like a center field act kind of role, playing deep in the coverage, kind of able to pick off balls, play center field, read the quarterback. I think that's exactly what the Texans need. I would really like the signing of Justin Simmons. I mean, he's been an all-pro the past 3 seasons. Why would you not want to go and sign a guy like that? I see cornerback. I agree with cornerback as well, because Jeff Okudah is nice, but is he really your number one option to start on the opposite side of Derek Stingley? I mean, he has potential. He's played well, but I don't know if I feel extremely confident in him being the starting cornerback right now for the Houston Texans. I wouldn't mind it, but I think you at least need some sort of competition. I don't know if the Texans are going to go after a corner in the draft in the first couple rounds, or if they can sign one of these other guys in free agency, like a Kendall Fuller or a Xavier Howard. But I would really like to see the Texans continue to build on this defense. I see, let's see, DB from Lackey. Charles says CB. Safety from KB. I see a lot of safety, wide receiver. Let me know where you're watching from as well. 138 people down in the chat. Let me know where you're watching from today. We have Texans fans from all over. You don't have to put it up. It's okay. Let me know where you're watching from as we're about to actually get into our cut, break down the signing of Danielle Hunter. But before we get into the signing, I see Manny Diaz from Houston, John Chai from H-Town as well. H-Town, hold it down. Let's go. I see Joplin, Missouri from Caleb. Let me know where you're watching from. Before we get started in our cut, we have 130 people watching. I want to get to 50 likes on today's video. Get this thing going. Get it off the ground. The more comments y'all do, the more likes y'all do, the better that helps this video do. So go down, hit that like button, get in the comments. Let me know how you're feeling, and let's celebrate. Let's celebrate the Texans signing a big name in free agency. A lot of people were like, "Oh, really? I mean, come on." They really didn't do anything day one. They had top 10 cap space. Mum was the word day one, besides Denico Autry and Al-Shaair, with other moves as well. But I think this was a slam dunk by Nick Caserio and D'Amico Ryans. I really love this deal by the Houston Texans in getting Danielle Hunter. Oh, perfect. All right, we're 6 likes away. 6 likes away. We need to get to 50 likes, and then we're going to start this cut. We're going to talk all about Danielle Hunter. We're going to talk about other players the Texans have signed and dealt for in NFL free agency. And at the end of today's cut, we're going to be talking about some guys the Texans could sign moving into tomorrow. Let's get it going, guys. Let's get it going. Woo! This is great. This is great. Absolutely love it. All right. Oh, and before we get started, we have a super chat coming in from Adam Martinez. Let's freaking go. It says, "What up, Chugs? I think Caserio goes after safety and CB in free agency and the draft. Gotta be happy if you're a Texans fan." I agree. I mean, the Texans defensive line, losing Grenard, that was a big hit, and they needed to replace that edge rushing spot because they didn't really have anybody. But now with the signing of Danielle Hunter, maybe if they added Denico Autry, that should help with the Texans pass rush and defensive line unit. They can add maybe another guy along the defensive line, maybe a depth piece, maybe somebody bigger than a depth piece. That would be really big for this Texans team going into next season. And like I said, I know it sounds crazy. You have a superstar quarterback on a rookie contract. This is the Texans Super Bowl window. They've never been to a Super Bowl before. Out of all the years that the Texans have been an organization, have been a franchise in the National Football League, they have never made the Super Bowl. And now I can confidently say this is their best shot of up to date. I mean, this is better than any Texans team, better than any Texans opportunity I've seen before. So you need to capitalize. You need to get the best team around CJ Stroud, and let's win the damn thing. Let's win the damn thing. Let's freaking go. All right, we have 60 likes on today's video. Adam Martinez, a real one. If you want to get on today's show, you can super chat like Adam Martinez did, or you can use hashtag Texans in the comment section. So whatever comment you want to put, say hashtag Texans, and then you can put it in the comments section. We'll pull it up after we do this cut on the Texans signing Danielle Hunter, and then after that, we'll see how long we go and maybe a little back and forth with y'all. So, appreciate it, Tex. Use hashtag Texans in the comment section if you want to be on the show, but you got to be subscribed if you want to get on the show. So use hashtag Texans in the comment section. Make sure you hit that sub button, and let's break down a little bit Texans signing Danielle Hunter. Breaking news here on Texans Today. The Texans have signed edge rusher Danielle Hunter, formerly of the Minnesota Vikings. He's signing a 2-year, $49 million deal, $48 million guaranteed. A huge move by Nick Caserio and Denico Autry after a mostly quiet day one of NFL free agency for the Houston Texans. Now, I want to know right now down in the comment section, how would you grade the signing of Danielle Hunter? Give me an A, B, C, D, or F in the comments section. Let me know. How would you grade this deal? If it's amazing, obviously give it an A. If it's not so much, give it a B, C, D, or F. I'll give you my answer in just a moment. Now, we look at Danielle Hunter's 2023 campaign. He played 17 games, 83 tackles, 23 tackles for loss, 16 and a half sacks, 4 forced fumbles, and 22 quarterback hits. At one point, Danielle Hunter was in the race for Defensive Player of the Year. And honestly, he should have been one of the top guys in the voting for Defensive Player of the Year because at his age, he is still getting it done. That's why I'm going to give this signing by Denico Autry and Nick Caserio of Danielle Hunter, I'm going to give this an A. You got to give it an A. They needed D-line help. They needed another edge rusher to go alongside Will Anderson, and that's exactly what you get in Danielle Hunter. I mean, Jonathan Grenard, obviously, he's going to the Vikings, so basically a swap of edge rushers, but Hunter is the more proven guy. I know Jonathan Grenard, younger, has more promise, but for a team that's in win-now mode, Hunter is exactly what this team needs. They need another elite pass rusher to get after those guys like Trevor Lawrence, like Anthony Richardson, both guys that you'll play 2 times a year. Danielle Hunter can not only help with the pass rush, but also in the run game. Danielle Hunter is a all-around player. Adding Hunter to this Texans defense is a big get for Denico Autry, which he really coached that defense up last year, overperformed. So now that they have a superstar in Danielle Hunter, I can't wait to see what this team can do in 2024. Now, if you haven't already, go down and hit that sub button. Breaking news as soon as it happens. We went live here on Texans Today, one of the smaller channels here at Chat Sports, but we said, hey, this is a big move for the Houston Texans. I wanted to celebrate. I wanted to go live with all my buddies here online who love the Houston Texans as well. So if you want daily Texans news and rumors content for free, go down and hit that sub button. My promise to you, if you don't like it in a week, no problem. Just unsubscribe. No sweat off your back. It's completely 100% free. But let me prove to you why we are the #1 Texans channel on YouTube today. Now, I mentioned him earlier, Will Anderson Jr. coming off a really good year, Defensive Rookie of the Year. Will Anderson, 7 sacks, 45 tackles, 10 tackles for loss, played extremely well for the Houston Texans. And now you pair him up, an ascending Will Anderson with Danielle Hunter on the outside. Scary. Absolutely scary. What a signing by the Houston Texans. And let's go over all the signings that the Texans have made during the free agency period so far. Dalton Schultz, the first guy to get re-signed by the Houston Texans, 3-year, $36 million, bringing back CJ Stroud's safety blanket. We re-signed kicker Kaimi Fairbairn. Eric Murray signed a 1-year deal. So did Foley Fatukasi, a really good run-stuffing defensive tackle. Then day one of NFL free agency, they started off with Lonnie Johnson, Okudah, Denico Autry, Mike Ford. More of a low-key day one, mostly because they were really going after Saquon Barkley, offered him a 3-year, $33 million deal per reports, but he ended up signing with Philadelphia for more. So I think that kind of stunted what they were going to do in day one. But they ended day one with a bang, signing Azeez Al-Shaair, linebacker, formerly of the Tennessee Titans, to a 3-year, $34 million deal. They also re-signed Noah Brown 1 year, up to $5 million. They replaced Cameron Johnston with Tommy Townsend. Cameron Johnston on his way to Pittsburgh. They also signed Del'Shawn Phillips, linebacker. That happened this morning, right before the news of the Texans trading for Joe Mixon. Obviously, two of the biggest moves the Texans made all of free agency, trading a conditional 7th-round pick, a really good trade for Joe Mixon, and then also just a few minutes ago signing Danielle Hunter to a 2-year, $49 million deal. So now that begs the question, who should the Texans sign next? I mean, they spent some money on Hunter, but they had top 10 cap space. They still have some money to make some moves. Who should they go after next? Well, I have an idea of somebody who's been rumored to be interested in joining the Houston Texans. Why not continue to add to this defensive line and add Arik Armstead? 27 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, 5 sacks. Has had some troubles the past couple of years staying healthy, but in 2021, 2020, he had great campaigns. Denico Ryans has nothing but glowing remarks for Arik Armstead. I would love to bring him to Houston and really form a scary defensive line. So I want to ask you folks at home, who do you want the Texans to sign next? Give me a name down in the comment section. Do you want Arik Armstead? Do you want somebody else? I see in the chat right now, Nico Laz is saying Justin Simmons. I see a couple people saying yes to Armstead. Let me know who you want the Texans to sign next in NFL free agency. I have a couple more names for you on tap. Next up, it would be Xavier Howard, cornerback. I really like the idea of adding him, somebody who has experience, a really good cornerback. You don't need to worry about him being the CB1. You have Derek Stingley for that, but he brings some veteran presence into this cornerback room that I really think the Texans could use. And then another player, I like Jordan Whitehead. I know a lot of people are saying Justin Simmons, but I think Jordan Whitehead can also play that role of like a center field safety where he kind of is in the back end of the defense while Jalen Petrie, Jimmy Ward are more in the box playing against tight ends, playing against running backs. I think Jordan Whitehead can be that guy who reads the quarterback's eyes and really gets some interceptions, get some pass breakups on the back end. But the reason why you all clicked into this video, the reason why we're all pumped here for the Houston Texans is the signing of Danielle Hunter. Once again, signing a 2-year, $49 million deal, $48 million guaranteed. You look at the stats, they speak for themselves. Danielle Hunter is an absolute stud, and the Houston Texans really got a great guy in Danielle Hunter to add to this defense. This is why you hit that sub button, because we are bringing you daily Texans news and rumors videos throughout the rest of free agency, into the 2024 NFL draft. Whatever's going on around the Houston Texans, we got you covered right here. That's why we are the #1 Texans channel on YouTube. I take great pride in that. I've been growing this channel the past year. A kid from Houston, a kid from South Houston who's trying to rep for his hometown, his home city. Go down and hit that sub button or go to youtube.com/TexansTV and really get in the comment section right now. Let me know how you feel about the signing. Do you think it's a good signing? Do you think it's bad? What do you think the Texans should do next? I'm really interested in what you folks have to say. That's why it's called Chat Sports, not Jeremy Sports, because we want to hear from you folks at home. So go down in the comment section, like today's video, and let's celebrate, because the Texans have signed Danielle Hunter. All right, let's go. How are we feeling, guys? How are we feeling? Oh, I see another super chat from Nico Laz. Let's get it popping. Let's get it popping. John Chai said, Justin, apparently the Texans are cooking up another trade. Oh, I'd be really interested to see who they're going to trade for if that's the case. But wow, I'm on this high with Danielle Hunter right now. You can't bring me down. You can't bring me down. Great signing after losing those other guys. IDK what the Texans chain is, but Texans H-Town. Hold it down, and don't forget to use that hashtag Texans in the comment section. Caleb, I see you using it, but you put a space in between hashtag and Texans, so I'll put one in there. They sign next. So do a question like that. Hashtag Texans, who should they sign next? You can ask whatever you want around the Houston Texans. Let me know how you feel about the Danielle Hunter signing and other moves this front office has done during this free agency period. I want to hear from you folks at home. How do you feel? John Chai says T. Higgins? No, you're good, Caleb. You're good. I just wanted to make sure you got your question in there. So just use hashtag Texans. Make sure there's no space in there. John Chai says T. Higgins. That's very interesting if the Texans traded for T. Higgins. Higgins on the outside with Nico Collins. You have Tank Dell as well. Dalton Schultz. Joe Mixon. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. Next up, we got Hayden C. using the hashtag Texans. Do you think if we sign Justin Simmons that we should move Petrie to strong safety? Yeah, I think that would be the move because Justin Simmons, like I said, him and Jordan Whitehead, they're more of back end of the defensive back room. Like they're not playing in the box. They're more of like these center fielders, strong safety or free safety type of guys where they're reading the quarterback. They're really able to get over the top, make sure there's no long completions for the opposing offenses. Justin Simmons has had multiple picks the past couple of years, same with Jordan Whitehead. And I think Petrie, he's more of a physical guy, and coverage is where he lacks a little bit. That's where I think Petrie needs to improve the most. But his tackling, his physicalness, his ability to rush the passer, I think those things Petrie really excels at. And if we're able to put him in a position to have those type of plays, to be able to play in the box, I think that would really help a lot. It's because it's on. Okay, yeah. No, you're good. You're good. But yeah, at the end of the day, I really think Justin Simmons would be a good signing for the Texans as well. I wonder how much he signs for because, like I said, he's been a Pro Bowler the past 3 years. Really, really good. Steven Robbins, we should get KJ Osborne, former receiver for the Minnesota Vikings. You know why it keeps on changing, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't mind KJ Osborne. I think we have some stats in the NFL graphic sheet for KJ Osborne. But yeah, he's been the third wide receiver for the Minnesota Vikings. Sure, if it's a really cheap deal, but I think the signing of Noah Brown really negates the idea of getting a KJ Osborne because I think him and Noah Brown kind of play in that same role. They're both kind of like the fourth, fifth receiver in the wide receiver room. They're both going to get, limited reps, and I don't see why you sign Noah Brown to a 1 year, $5 million deal if you were going to then go and sign a guy like KJ Osborne. I would much rather the Texans look in the draft because I think that's where you're going to get better value at the wide receiver spot. Even if you want to get a guy in the second or third round, this year's wide receiver class is absolutely loaded. As my main man, producer Tex, absolute legend, got this ready for me. These are KJ Osborne's 2023 stats: 540 yards, 48 receptions, 11.3 yards per reception, and 3 touchdowns. And we look at his career stats, had 2 decent years, 655, 650 yards, has been that, third option in Minnesota. And I'm not shitting on KJ Osborne. I think he's a good option for the Texans. But once you have a guy like Noah Brown, I don't see the reason to bring him in. You also have 2 rookies from last season, Xavier Hutchinson and John Mechie. I don't know if the Texans plan to keep those guys or plan to really try to utilize those guys because they both got some playing time against Baltimore. So I don't necessarily need to see the addition of another depth piece at wide receiver. If they add another wide receiver, I'd like it to be like a T. Higgins or a second or third round pick in this year's draft, a guy who has wide receiver 1A, 1B potential, in my opinion. We did. Continue to use hashtag Texans. Let me know how you feel. Caleb Kaufman, a real one. Caleb Kaufman, I just got to shout you out. I really do appreciate you. You're always first in all of my videos. You're always hitting that like button. You're always commenting. You're always sharing my videos. Really appreciate you, Caleb. He said, should the Texans draft Peyton Wilson in round 2? Linebacker from NC State, I believe. Peyton Wilson, I mean, he's regarded as one of the top linebackers in this year's draft, has had some injury issues, but looks like he's, really bounced back from that, been able to come back from those injuries, and is targeted as like a late round 1, round 2 guy. If he's there in round 2, I wouldn't mind it, depending on who else is on the board. Because, I mean, for this Texans team, I'd really like to have them get a lot of blue chip talent, a lot of young blue chip talent, rather than draft for need after like the first round. So, honestly, I would really like the Texans. I mean, if they drafted Peyton Wilson, if he's the best player on their board, sure. But if they have like a really good wide receiver, a really good corner that's on the board, maybe a offensive or defensive lineman, I think those guys should be prioritized over Peyton Wilson, in my opinion. Stephen Robbins says, how about Tyler Boyd? Like Void. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah, I mean, Tyler Boyd is a good option as well. He played really, even though he was the third option in Cincinnati, he was really be a second option in a lot of other offenses. Tyler Boyd, a big wide receiver, long, lanky. I like the fit there with Tyler Boyd, especially if they can get him on a decent contract. But John Chai was telling me about T. Higgins and kind of got me all excited in the chat for your T. Higgins trade. If that happens, we might have to go live again here on the channel. Aiden Stevens, Manchester United, nice. Texans, we need a defensive tackle. Then this offseason will be perfect. I agree. That's why my first guy, whenever I mentioned whenever we were breaking down the Danielle Hunter signing, was Eric Armstead. He is already familiar with D'Amico Ryans and the style of defense that he runs, and has played really well in the past for D'Amico Ryans. I don't know the figures of what he would want on a per year basis, but if you can bring in a guy like Eric Armstead who has been there, done that, I would love that for the Houston Texans to continue to add during this offseason. Let me know how you're feeling down in the chat. 195 people. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah, pretty good for a random live. Stephen Robbins, who should we get in the first round? A couple guys I have my eye on, honestly. If one of the premier wide receivers is there in round 1, maybe a Brian Thomas Jr. I've even been talked into possibly Adonai Mitchell out of your alma mater, UT, go hook 'em horns. Text said automatic touchdown machine. I tend to agree. Adonai Mitchell is really good. If one of those top receivers is there, I wouldn't mind that. Also, I was going to say edge before the signing of Danielle Hunter, but if one of the top defensive tackles is there as well, like Johnny Newton, formerly Jerzon Newton, Byron Murphy, I think he's going to go top 20, but if he somehow falls to you at 23, I would love a Byron Murphy. I think it's a little bit too early for T'Vondre Sweat just because he's really good, he's really big, but conditioning is a worry with him. How much is he going to be able to play for you? Tex is kind of nodding in agreement with that, even though he's really talented. Yeah, but defensive tackle would be another option there. I like wide receiver, and then cornerback. If there's my dream would be for a top cornerback to fall to the Texans in round 1. I really, my favorite player in round 1, if the Texans are somehow able to get it. One of our draft analysts, Jack Sperry, absolutely loves this kid, Quinion Mitchell out of Toledo. If Quinion Mitchell is there in round 1 and he's there on the clock whenever the Texans are on the clock, you run the card up and yell Quinion Mitchell. Smaller kid school, but had a lot of offers to go to SEC. Bigger schools turned them down to stay at Toledo. Absolutely tested out of the water. Impressed everybody at the Senior Bowl. Quinion Mitchell would be my guy in round 1 if he somehow falls to the Texans. I saw a mock draft from NFL.com where the Texans traded up a couple spots to get him at like 18 or 19. I would absolutely go crazy for that because then you have Quinion Mitchell, you have Derek Stingley on the outside. I think Quinion Mitchell can be a CB1. You have 2 CB1s on your roster. That's money. That's absolute money. Alex Villarreal, Texans first. I love this show. I've been watching since about 2 years ago. Hell yeah. Thank you, Alex. Appreciate the support. But who do you think we sign next? Now, my hope is that they sign somebody like Eric Armstead, but I could see the way the Texans are operating possibly going with a more low-key signing. I mean, Xavier Howard would be another one as well. I mentioned him, Jordan Whitehead, Simmons, the former safety from the Denver Broncos. I would love that as well. But I could see them going with a more low-key signing, maybe another linebacker, maybe bringing back Denzel Perryman. I know they like Henry To'oTo'o. They have Christian Harris. Now they have Azeez Al-Shaair. So you, in theory, have your starting linebackers. I don't know if they full-on trust Henry To'oTo'o yet to be a starter for them in the linebacking room. So maybe they bring back a guy like Denzel Perryman. Maybe they get one of these other linebackers. I like Devondre Campbell, formerly of the Green Bay Packers. He's a really good linebacker as well. But if there's anybody that knows good linebackers, it's Denico Ryans. I mean, he was an amazing linebacker for the Texans, played linebacker his whole life. I mean, played linebacker at Alabama. So he knows how to evaluate linebackers. Obviously, saw something in Christian Harris. Really likes Azeez Al-Shaair. But I could see maybe a linebacker, a more low-key signing, even though I would hope it would be like an Eric Armstead. Smug Cat YouTube, in my opinion, I think Texans should sign Chase Young from San Francisco for a 2 or 1 or 3 year, so a 1, 2 or 3 year deal. Yeah, I wouldn't mind it, depending on the money. Chase Young, he's still a young edge rusher, could be a rotational edge rusher for the Houston Texans. I mean, it wouldn't be a slam dunk in my opinion, but if you get Chase Young as a guy who's going to be a rotational piece, I wouldn't mind that. I don't know if Chase Young necessarily wants to be in that role. I think he wants to be a starting edge. I know there's been rumors that Chase Young has talked with the Titans and talked with the Carolina Panthers. Both those teams he would be starting, so I don't see the appeal for him to go to the Texans rather than one of those teams. But if he was willing to come to the Texans on a cheaper deal and be a rotational guy, then yeah, sure. I mean, I'd go for Chase Young. Aiden Stevens, major hypothetical here, but would you rather trade for Jay Jettas or T. Higgins? I mean, I'd probably go with T. Higgins only because from what our Vikings host Patrick Seatman has told me about the idea of trading for Justin Jefferson, he told me 4 first-round picks, even though I don't think that that's realistic. They're going to want a king's ransom for Justin Jefferson if they ever do trade him. I think T. Higgins is going to be a lot more reasonable because, 1, the Bengals already have Jamar Chase, and 2, T. Higgins, when you sign him, you also are going to have to give him a massive extension, a really big payday. So you're not only trading for him, but you're going to have to spend a lot of money on T. Higgins. So I think, I mean, we saw what the Giants did with Brian Burns. They traded a 2nd this year and a 5th next year. If that's the trade for T. Higgins, sign me up tomorrow, today, yesterday, a week ago. Sign me up for that deal. If you're going a 2nd and a 5th for T. Higgins like the Giants did for Brian Burns, every day, twice on Sunday, I would do that deal. I think Justin Jefferson, it'll take 2 or 3 firsts to get him. So I'm going with T. Higgins. Yeah, T. Higgins. Naveed, he said, how about Texans draft Marshawn Lloyd or Trey Benson? I like both of those guys. I mentioned earlier in my breakdown of the Texans trading for Joe Mixon that I still believe the Texans are going to draft a running back this year in the NFL draft. Joe Mixon, I know he's still somewhat young. He's 27 years old. But if this free agency period offseason has showed me anything, it's the Texans don't have a lot of faith in Dameon Pierce. I was wrong on him before the start of last season. I thought he would be one of the top 15, 20 backs in the NFL. He lost his job to Devin Singletary mid-season. And really, I didn't notice this until, I wish I knew which commenter on one of my videos pointed this out to me, but Dameon Pierce looks for contact when he runs. He doesn't run to open holes. He actually will run, see somebody kind of getting an angle for him, and he'll make it easier and try to hit that contact. Yes, he might run somebody over, but why would you give up 3-4 extra yards in space of running somebody over for like 1 yard? That's Dameon Pierce's biggest problem with me. He doesn't really read the defense and read the holes as well as you'd like your RB1 to. And I don't know if he fits with this Texans team right now. But Marshawn Lloyd, Trey Benson, both really good options. in the middle round. I also like the kid out of Tennessee. I believe his name is Jalen Wright. Jonathan Brooks, if he falls in the third round, sign him or draft him. Draft him right now. Jonathan Brooks in the third round, I would absolutely love that. Actually, funny story, I cover high school football here in Texas. Jonathan Brooks was the state title MVP, and he was on the losing team. Had over 300 yards from scrimmage, like 4 or 5 touchdowns. An absolute beast in high school was Jonathan Brooks. Yeah, for real. Stephen Robbins, I think we should draft a defensive tackle and sign a cornerback like Howard, so you have Stingley, Howard, and Okudah. I agree. I want some more competition for Okudah. Now, like I said, I wouldn't mind if Okudah ended up winning the starting job and being the CB2 across from Derek Stingley, but right now, I don't want to just be like, yeah, Jeff Okudah's the guy. I want them to bring somebody else in. I want them to either draft high in the draft, first or second round, or sign another guy, maybe like a Xavier Howard, a Kendall Fuller. Both those options really intrigue me for the Houston Texans. John Quezada says, Eric Armstead, ? Yeah, I've been saying I would really like Eric Armstead. And I know these stats aren't going to necessarily jump off the page for anybody, but he played really well for D'Amico Ryans in San Francisco, and he's a big guy, can eat up blocks in the middle of that defense. We saw what he did last time he played 17 games, 63 tackles, 6 sacks, 7 tackles for loss, a really good disruptor in the middle of a defensive line. You already have a couple of guys like Malik Collins, now Denico Autry, who can play in that, not nose guard, but he's kind of in that, between the guard and tackle, like in the B gap, I would say. Eric Armstead is a bigger guy. I really would be intrigued at the addition of Armstead with this Texans defense. Okay, we're going to take a couple more questions. If we don't get any more Super Chats, we're going to go ahead and dip out on today's show. I just wanted to go live and really celebrate the signing, see how we would do on a channel like this. This is one of our smaller channels here at Chat Sports, so we wanted to kind of test if y'all are down to go live. And I mean, the numbers really show that y'all are. Over 200 people were watching, 117 likes. If you haven't already, hit that thumbs up icon. Patrick B, yeah, putting in work. We were live earlier today for 7 hours on our Raiders channel. I saw the Texans breaking news. I won't say where I was when I saw the Texans breaking news, but yeah, it was super exciting. Super exciting. We're going to answer a couple more questions. If we don't get any more Super Chats, then we're going to have to head out and open the studio space for other people. But I just want to say I appreciate everybody who joined today's live, everybody who's commented, liked the video, who joined into today's video. It means a lot to me that you took time out of your day to join this Texans live stream. Really appreciate everybody for everything that y'all have done. John Chai says, move Jimmy Ward to nickel and Petrie to strong safety. Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. I think Jimmy Ward plays better in the box anyway. Petrie has been okay at free safety, but has had some lapses in coverage. I know.
You think he'd be better at strong safety?
Yeah, I think Petrie, he's a more physical guy. He's not a coverage guy. And it's funny because he's actually one of the smaller defensive backs on the team. He likes contact. He likes to hit guys. So, yeah. Yeah. Jaime Rodriguez, we should get Keon Coleman in the draft. I actually saw something that was interesting of a lot of teams, get swayed easily off of combine grades, combine performances. Keon Coleman didn't necessarily run a very fast 40, but he's a big guy. When you put on the tape, when you watch Keon Coleman, his catch radius is insane. If they have Keon Coleman there in the second round, it'll be hard for them not to get a guy like him in round 2 because he is an absolute stud at the wide receiver spot. He plays a lot faster than he tested. Whenever you watch his tape, whenever you watch Keon Coleman play, he plays a lot faster than the 4.6 whatever he ran. So, yeah, not in round 1 in my opinion. The Texans have other holes, but if he's there in round 2, yeah, I'm down for that. Jack Sample, I still think we need offensive line depth. I agree. I wouldn't mind the Texans signing one of these centers that are available, maybe a Connor Williams or Bradley Bozeman, another option for interior offensive line depth. I like Shaq Mason. Titus Howard obviously coming off of injury. You have Laramie Tunsil, the rock there at left tackle. And then left guard, you have Juice Scruggs. And then center, you have Jarrett Patterson, who played well, but in a short stint in his rookie year. Then you have Kenyon Green, a former first-round pick at left guard too. So I'm really interested in to see the position battles of who they want to play center, who they want to play guard, because they have a couple different options to already do so, but they're all young, unproven guys. I'd like them to get one more depth piece on the interior to be like, hey, this is a guy in case these young guys suck, in case they're up and down or fluctuate, we have somebody that we can trust to put in on the interior, either at guard or center. Jaime Rodriguez, we should trade up and get Byron Murphy. Yeah, I mean, depending on what you're giving up as draft capital, I don't want to break the bank to go up and get another defensive tackle, but if he's there in the late teens, I wouldn't mind the Texans giving up their like a pick swap, their first-round pick, and then a later-round pick as well, maybe in the 4th or 5th round. I wouldn't mind that if I'm the Houston Texans to trade up into the late teens. Same with Quinion Mitchell. That's why I said if Quinion Mitchell is there in the late teens, I would 100% be willing to trade up and try to get him in round 1. All right, last question. Rob, what free agent offensive lineman do you think we should target, if any? I just named a couple. Connor Williams, Bradley Bozeman, just to name a few. I really would like for them to look at interior guys, maybe a swing tackle if there are any available. I'd have to do a little bit more homework, maybe come out with a video tomorrow about some more free agent targets for the Houston Texans. Now, one more time before I let you all go, Danielle Hunter signing a 2-year, $49 million deal with the Houston Texans, $48 million cash guaranteed for Danielle Hunter. He adds to this Texans defensive line. This pass rush now features Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson. AFC South quarterbacks, good luck. And one more time before I let you go, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Join us here on Texans Today for daily Texans news and rumors content. We have you covered with the latest going on around the Battle Red Texans. So go down and hit that subscribe button, or go to youtube.com/TexansTV. If you're already subscribed, go ahead and hit that noti bell so when we come out with the video, there's going to be some more free agent signings to come, more draft rumors, more draft news. When the draft comes around, every single guy that's drafted for the Houston Texans, we will bring you a video for. So if you want news, rumors, to stay up to date with the Houston Texans, this is the place to be. Go down and hit that subscribe button, or go to youtube.com/TexansTV to join the #1 Texans YouTube channel.